Let's talk about something we've all dealt with: judging and being judged. It rarely feels good, right? So today we're going to break down how to handle those tough conversations. How to correct someone without causing a bunch of harm, and maybe find a better way forward in our relationships.
I mean, you've been there, right? That moment when someone's words land and they feel less like help and more like, well, like an attack. It's this universal sting, and man, it gets right to the heart of why figuring this stuff out, judging and correcting the right way, is so crucial for basically every relationship we have. All right, so let's get right to the heart of the problem. In our day-to-day lives, this kind of misplaced judgment, it's like a stumbling block. Think of it like an invisible obstacle that gets dropped right in the middle of our relationships, with family, with friends, you name it. It's the kind of thing that can trip up even the absolute strongest connections. Okay, so what does this stumbling block actually look like in the wild? Well, sometimes it's super obvious, like harsh criticism or when you're constantly being compared to someone else. But a lot of the time, it's way more subtle. It kind of hides in the assumptions we make about people without knowing the full story, or in those personal biases we all have that just color the way we see everything. And this really brings us to a core principle behind all of this. The idea is so simple, but it's also really profound. Our goal should be to clear the path for people, not to throw more obstacles in their way. It's really about taking a step back and realizing when our words or actions, even if we mean well, are actually doing more harm than good. Okay, and this right here, this leads us to maybe the most important distinction in this entire conversation. There is a huge difference between genuine correction and just plain old criticism. And trust me, understanding that difference, it changes everything. Yeah, check this out. This lays out the two paths perfectly. Over on one side, you've got criticism. What does it do? It condemns, it belittles, it just puts up a brick wall between people. And where does it come from? Almost always from some kind of bias. But then, look at the other side. You've got correction. Its whole purpose is to restore and to build up. And its source isn't bias, it's love. And that, right there, is the key. That's the whole ball game. The goal is never to win an argument or prove how right you are. Nope. It's all about gentle restoration. It's about helping someone get back on their feet, not pushing them further off the path. Okay, so how do we actually do this? How do we give what the Book of Proverbs calls a faithful wound? It's a fascinating phrase, right? It means offering correction that comes from a place of love and loyalty, even when you know it's going to be hard for them to hear. The process is actually surprisingly simple. It really just boils down to two essential steps. First, and honestly, this is the most important part, you have to look inward. You have to examine your own heart, your own motivations. Only then are you ready for step two, speaking the truth, but with genuine compassion and care. This quote just nails the idea, doesn't it? A true friend is someone who's willing to have those tough conversations. These wounds, they aren't meant to cause harm. They're called faithful for a reason, because they're given for the other person's good out of a really deep sense of care. All right, so we've spent some time talking about how to give correction, but let's flip the script. What about when we're on the receiving end? What are we supposed to do when we feel like we've been judged completely unfairly? Yeah, it's a really tough spot to be in, isn't it? I think our first instinct for most of us is to get defensive or, to fire right back with our own judgment. But the question is there a better way to handle it? Well, the source material gives us a pretty powerful model to follow here. Instead of heading back, instead of retaliating, the example shown is to just entrust the whole situation to a higher justice. It's a conscious choice to say, nope, I'm not getting pulled into this destructive cycle of anger and accusations. And this is really where the rubber meets the road. This is the challenge. It's not about proving the other person wrong. It's about finding the strength to break the cycle, to choose grace over getting even. Look, it's incredibly hard to do, for sure, but making that choice can be totally transformative. Okay, so whether we're the one giving the correction or the one receiving it, there's one foundational principle that ties all of this together. It all starts in the exact same place. See, none of us exist in a vacuum, right? Our culture, the way we were raised, our personal experiences, all of these things have shaped how we see the world. And they can create these hidden biases that cloud our judgment without us even having a clue. And that's the exact warning we see in this passage. We have to be so careful not to be taken captive by certain philosophies or ways of thinking that aren't grounded in truth and love. What that really means
is we have to actively filter our own perspectives to make sure our judgment is as clear as it can possibly be.
And that really brings us full circle, doesn't it? Before you speak, before you react, before you even think about judging, the first move is always to look inward, to check your own heart, your own biases, your own motives. It's the absolute foundational first step to getting any of this right. All right, so let's do a super quick recap of the main takeaways. Number 1, always aim to restore, not to criticize. 2, if you have to give correction, do it with compassion. 3, when you're on the receiving end of judgment, try to respond with grace. And the foundation for all of it, always check your own heart first.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one final question to think about. In your own life, right now, what's one stumbling block you can help remove this week? Maybe it's in how you talk to someone, or maybe it's in how you choose to respond when you feel judged. Something